It's 5 o'clock in the afternoon. As you know, this is Perry Mason's first day of active investigation into the huge crime syndicate we know is headed by J.T. Doherty. It's been a busy day, not only because of Mason's investigation in behalf of the insurance companies, but also because of the lawyer's normal and heavy practice. In fact, as Miss Street shows the last client out, she closes the door, leans back against it, folds her arms, and...
Goodbye, Mr. Merriweather. Oh.
Are you leaning against the door for support, or...
I'm holding it closed so nobody else can get in. Harry, won't you phone Mr. Wallace now?
What is the hurry? I've started his investigation.
But you haven't accepted his retainer. Perry Mason, doesn't money mean anything to you?
Oh, yes, of course. But you know what I really like, Della? I have had more fun today than I've had since we broke the Cesar case. And we've only started.
But you have started. Won't you at least tell Mr. Wallace and make him happy? I've got the listing of his private wire.
Oh, you slave driver.
You're a sweet boy.
Oh, don't put it through the switchboard.
Oh, don't worry. Gertie's gone. She left on the stroke of 5.
Good for her.
You know our Gertie. Not a minute over time. Oh, hello, Mr. Wallace. This is Della Street. Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Mason is waiting to speak to you. Here you are, Chief.
Thank you. Hello, Mr. Wallace. Yes, some progress. Well, it's encouraging. There's nothing definite yet. And we could be disappointed, so, I'd better let you know what happens. Well, we can discuss financial arrangements after we have made definite progress. No, frankly, I'd prefer to wait. Well, there's no hurry. I know where to reach you, and you know where to reach me, so... Yes, of course. As soon as we have made a real step forward. Now, satisfied?
Well, I'd feel a lot better if you'd accept that retainer. I knew I should have double-barred that door.
It's the private entrance.
Was it? Well, I thought it was... Well, hardly anybody but Paul Drake uses the private entrance, Chief, and that didn't sound like Paul. Well, Paul, it is...
How you doing?
Hi.
Hello, Paul.
Oh, Perry. I was on my way back to my office. Thought I'd take a chance, see if you guys were still here.
Okay, let's have it.
Well, it's tough. I got just the boy we needed. Real young-looking operative. Sharp boy, dependable. Briefed him just like you did me. Told him to go to Dad's soda shop. Get to know the kids that hang out there. Try to learn something about the girl we're looking for. This is a good boy, Perry. Would have done you hard good to see the way he caught on. Real sharp boy. Only was just a bunch of wasted talent.
Paul, I said let's have it.
Dad's soda shop is closed.
What?
But we had a file from the Vice Squad
It
on
wasn't up to date, Della. The place shut down the last of October.
When did you say?
Yeah. I knew you'd latch on to the date. The last of October is the last time the syndicate man contacted the girl we want. Anyhow, the last time at Dad's soda shop. Right after that, Bluey, it shuts down. Of course, we'll keep digging, Perry. Try to find the guy who ran the joint. Try to locate the kids who used to hang out there. You know we'll give it the old rundown, Perry.
Oh, yeah, sure you will, Paul.
Well, I'll leave you guys. Let you know if anything comes up.
Where are you going?
Upstairs to growl at my secretary.
Oh, you're quitting?
Well, I said I'd keep digging.
Yes, but when you come down to it, that's quitting by degrees.
Why?
Oh, I had kind of an idea. It's only a long shot. Never mind, Paul. We'll go over it next week, maybe, when you feel fresh.
All right, Perry. Give.
Well, it's only a long shot, Paul.
Yeah. Give.
No, I don't even want you to start on this if you're convinced that we're already
Are you going to quit rubbing it in? Give, will you? You got another lead?
No. The girl is our only lead to the syndicate man. We'll have to find her before we find him. But I do have another idea about locating her.
You want me to get down on my knees, Perry? Come on and tell me, will you?
I think Paul must be broke. You really need the fee, Paul?
That's all I live for, Della. Now, please be quiet, beautiful, so the man can give me the word.
Well, meanwhile, the man Perry Mason wants to find, one of J.T.'s syndicate men, is within a few miles of Mason's office. A moment ago, he pulled off a busy traffic artery, wheeled his expensive foreign sports car to a stop in front of as yet unopened nightclub. He's a young man, rather tall, rather heavy-set, with sharp, angular features. This man takes a long, casual look at the nightclub, and then walks inside, ignores the workmen still completing the interior decorations, and instinctively he walks to the manager's office.
You're right, J.T. I'll phone you. Well.
Hello, Gordy.
Hello, Gus. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Well, long time no see, huh?
Few months.
Yeah, you're looking good, Gus. Wide open space is healthy, huh?
Yeah. You look a little tired.
Well, the fact is I have been working hard.
You shouldn't do that, Gordy. A little guy like you.
Yeah.
No offense, you understand.
Yeah, I understand.
As I was saying, a little guy like you ought to conserve your strength, Gordy.
I got lots. I'm a lot stronger than I look, Gus. I'm a lot stronger than I was when you and me worked together.
Since you and I worked together.
You know what I mean, Gus. Since you and I started out together working for JT. I'm a whole lot stronger now.
I still think you look tired.
Don't ever kid yourself. Now, look at me. I haven't even asked you to sit down.
I've been sitting all day, driving. JT around?
Now, he's only here once in a while, Gus.
Well, you told me to meet him here.
Tomorrow, Gus. I guess you were mixed up when you got his message.
Uh-huh. I thought maybe he'd be here. I got in early. There's some little layout you got here. I mean, JT's got here.
This is mine, Gus.
Uh-huh, for JT.
Yeah, but he and the big fella gave it to me.
No kidding. Well, what'll I do when he asks me for suggestions? Tell him I'll ask you first?
You tell him anything you want, pal. When JT and I decided to bring you back and give you another try.
Say that again? Slow?
Yeah, when JT and I decided to bring you back. JT and I talked it over, you understand. I said, sure, JT, give old Gus another chance. Some things he's pretty good at.
You told him that?
Yeah, I said there's one thing about old Gus. He's always full of ideas. I never saw such a guy for ideas as old Gus. Of course, they don't work out, I told JT. I mean, a lot of times they don't work out, but like I told him, maybe I can use Gus. I mean, if he's learned his lesson, and if he stays in line, and if he'll take orders.
You told JT all that?
Yeah, sure. You were always my pal, Gus. I'm always glad to do a pal a favor. Sure, I'm willing to give you a break, if you'll stay in line. And especially if you've learned your lesson. Now, look at me. You just got in from a hot day's drive, and I haven't even... Wait a minute. Yeah, I had some scotch brought in. Hey, what do you know, Gus?
Yeah?
Now, this is a particular brand of scotch. Black Stallion. Now, what do you think of that? I just happen to have a bottle of your favorite scotch. I'm going to pour us a real slug. Yes, sir. Old friends got to celebrate. There you are, boy. Well, here's cheers. What's the matter? You aren't drinking, Gus?
No, I'm not drinking.
Oh, I know you're not drinking heavy, but you got to have one for old time's sake. And to say nothing about being tired after a long day on the road. Well, you don't mind if I go ahead, do you? No. Boy, that hits the spot after a long day. You sure you won't change your mind? You don't care if I drink the one I poured for you, huh? I mean, it don't make you feel bad or anything to watch me slug this down, huh? You sure, Gus?
Want some, Gordy?
What?
Piece of gum. I chew a lot of gum.
Gum? You chew gum, you say? No kidding. Gum, Gus? You don't mean it, huh? No, thanks. I don't touch this stuff. You chew it, Gus. Have all you want, huh? Boy, it sure is great to have you back. Have another piece of gum, Gus. Watch me while I have another drink of scotch, huh? Oh. Hey, remember how good this Black Stallion tastes, pal?
Well, in spite of Paul Drake's disappointing news, Perry Mason has a break he doesn't know about, because Gus, the man he hopes to identify, has returned to the city. And as you've probably guessed, Gus's return will also mean a lot to Gordy. I can promise action and excitement in the immediate future. So, well, join us on Monday, won't you? It's almost 9 in the morning as Perry Mason waits outside Della Street's apartment building, looks impatiently at his watch. And now...
Will you ring Miss Street's apartment, please?
Here she is now, sir.
Oh, Chief.
Yes. What happened, Della? You oversleep?
No, I've been speaking to, Lieutenant Halverson phoned me.
You?
Yes, he tried to reach you, but you were on your way over. Come on, I'll tell you what he said in the car.
Oh, let's hear it now.
Well, Halverson's been to the jail and spoken to Francis Riley.
And?
Yes, according to Halverson.
All right, I'll get details later. Did Riley say that my hunch is correct?
Oh, on the button.
All right, let's walk over to the phone booth.
Going to put Paul Drake to work?
This minute. The quicker we start, the quicker we'll find that mystery girl.
Uh-huh.
And the quicker we find her, the quicker we'll get our hands on the guy who represents the syndicate. You got a dime, Bella?
I'll look.
Maybe we can wind this up fast.
Oh, you really think so, Chief?
Why not? The girl knows the syndicate man. He knows other syndicate members, so all we have to do first is find the girl.
I can't even find a dime. I'll have to get you some change at the lobby desk.
No, I got a quarter.
Well, I'll get it changed for you.
No, never mind. This call is worth a quarter.
Well, the man Perry Mason hopes to find is now within a few miles of Perry's office. The man's name is Gus Jansen. Gus is about to go inside the nightclub, which Gordy Weber will operate for the syndicate. Now, as Gus heads for the entrance, he sees a lovely red-haired girl trying to open the massive, heavily decorated front door.
Good morning.
Oh,
Trouble?
look, they told me to be here at 9 o'clock, but the door is locked.
Well, that isn't very nice of them. You sure it's locked?
Yes. See? I can't find a bell either. I suppose we'll just have to wait. At least it's a pretty morning.
But cold. We might freeze to death before they find us.
I hope not.
We'll have to ration the food and water.
Oh, of course.
And no matter how hungry and thirsty we get, we'll only eat half a biscuit and drink 2 sips of water a day.
Oh, I'll be very brave.
Oh, so will I. I'll give you some of my food and water without letting you know it's mine. My name is August Jansen.
I'm Kate Beekman.
Hello, Miss Beekman.
Hello, Mr. Jansen.
And I'm very glad to meet you. But that doesn't get us inside.
We could build a fire for smoke signals.
Well, let's try this. After you, Miss Beekman.
You had a key all the time.
But if I'd unlocked it right away, we couldn't have played Castaway. Now, don't you like to play Let's Pretend, Miss Beekman?
Are you going to work here, Mr. Jansen?
In a way, I'm an associate of the gent who runs the place, Gordon Weber.
Oh, I know.
You know Gordy?
Yes.
You two real good friends?
Oh, no. We're not really friends. Mr. Weber was going to give me a job dancing.
You a dancer?
I was. But I was injured in an accident. Well, to make a long story short, I can't dance anymore, and Miss Helen Powers, the dance director and booking agent, well, Miss Powers will train me to be a dance director after I've had some practical experience. Oh, what a beautiful place.
You like it?
Oh, it's lovely.
Well, you should see some of the places in Vegas.
Where?
Las Vegas. They'd make this look like 2.5 or maybe 3 cents. Come on, Gordy's office is this way.
I can't imagine how any place could be more beautiful. What are those men doing?
Finishing the floor. We're almost ready to open.
I'm glad. I want to start working.
We go in here. And that's the door to the office there.
Just go in?
Sure.
Katie, come on in. Close the door behind you.
I'll close the door, Gordy.
Oh. You're out bright and early. You met him, Katie?
Yes.
Miss Beekman and I were marooned outside the front door.
And Mr. Jansen gallantly came to my rescue.
What are you talking about?
Don't try to figure it out. The door was locked.
Yeah? I told Joe to watch the door. Just wait till I tell that guy. Hey, Joe! Joe, where are you? I'll give him an earful when I
Quit
get...
swinging your weight around, kid.
What?
I said quit showing off. Nobody's impressed.
You know, you must have got cold outside, Gus. Don't you think he looks cold, Katie? There's a bottle of scotch in the cupboard, Gus. Help yourself.
No, thanks.
Go on, Gus. I can guess how bad you want to drink. Gus really likes it, Katie. I mean, he really likes it. Gus likes to crawl right inside the bottle.
Have a stick of gum, Miss Beekman?
No, thank you.
Oh, yeah, Gus chews gum now. He's been out west for his health, if you know what I mean. But he's itching to get back inside that bottle. I'll see you in a few minutes, Gus.
Take your time.
I want to talk to Miss Beekman.
Well, go right ahead.
There's a message for you in the other office.
Yeah?
You'll find it on top of the desk.
Then I better have a look. Glad to have met you, Miss Beekman.
Thank you, Mr. Jansen.
Yeah, it gets in my hair. Well, never mind now, anyway. All set to go to work?
I guess so, Mr. Weber.
No, Katie, you can call me Gordy when we're alone.
We aren't going to be alone, are we, Mr. Weber?
Well, of course, that's up to you, kid, but I thought... Yeah, we'll see.
Where will I start working?
You report to Mr. Boland. He's kitchen manager. Start learning the ropes in the back. And when we start booking the entertainment, you'll help with rehearsals in the dressing room and so on.
I'm anxious to get started.
Yeah, well, sure. But take it easy, Kate. Don't try too hard. And if you got any questions or anything's bothering you, you come straight to Gordy, okay?
Thank you, Mr. Weber.
I almost forgot. You get your parents' permission to work here?
Yes.
You didn't tell your old man I'm running the place, huh?
No, I didn't tell him. If I had, he wouldn't let me.
Yeah, I wish your dad didn't feel like he does about me, but he'll learn someday. He'll see what a real friend I am. Now, you remember what I said, Kate. If anything or anybody bothers you, you tell Gordy. Particularly him.
Mr. Jansen?
Well, now, I don't like to talk behind a guy's back, and I wouldn't say a word if I didn't like you.
He seemed very nice.
The guy's poison. Don't have a thing to do with him for your own good, Katie.
Why?
You can't trust him. There's guys you can trust. Real friends like me. And then there's guys like Gus you can't trust. I'm just giving you a tip for your own good.
Fatherly advice, Gordy? I didn't see the message.
Yeah, well, I guess you didn't look good enough. Go take another look around.
I'll wait and show Miss Beekman the place.
She don't need you to show her.
Just the same.
Besides, I got something to tell you. Katie, you go find Mr. Boland.
Yes, Mr. Weber.
Yeah. Oh, and later on, you better speak to Tony, Miss Facina. Tony's in charge of entertainment. You'll be working with her.
I'll see you later, Miss Beekman.
Yes.
Gus. Nix.
What do you mean, Nix?
The girl.
Miss Beekman? She's a very attractive girl.
I'm going to tell you once so you'll understand.
I usually catch on the first time. Have a stick of gum, Gordy.
Leave her alone.
You telling me, kid?
Yeah,
You got a reason, or are you just slinging your weight again?
I weigh lots more than I used to.
And when you get twice as heavy, you'll still be a lightweight.
Leave the girl alone, Gus.
I asked if you got reasons.
I could give you reasons. I could say JT's got an interest.
JT's girl? You're kidding.
No, I'm not kidding. I'm not anything. This is what I could say. I could say JT's got an interest, so keep away from her. But I'm not telling you he has, and I'm not telling you anything but keep away from her. Now get it through your head, Gus. I'm the man now. I give the orders. You're all washed up, and all the guys know it, but you. Get wise to yourself, jerk.
Be careful, Gordy.
I said get wise to yourself, jerk. You come charging back to town like everything's peaches and cream, like everything is just the way it used to be. But it's changed, Gus. JT's got no time for you.
He sent for me to come back.
To come back and help me. So starting as of right this minute, forget you ever saw her.
Call me when JT
Come
gets
back here.
I've got to see how my new friend, I'm talking about Miss Beekman, how she's getting along. Get out of my way, Gordy.
Okay, jerk, okay. If this is the way it's got to be.
Put up the knife, Gordy.
I'm going to put it up. I'm going to put it right up to the handle. You've been asking for this ever since you got back. Okay, Gus, you're going to get it.
Gordy Weber's little, but he's also dangerous. Gordy could put Gus Jansen forever beyond Perry Mason's reach if he isn't stopped. What do you think is going to happen? You'll join us tomorrow, won't you? As you know, Perry Mason is making an all-out effort to learn the identity of a key figure in the auto theft syndicate. The key figure Mason is actually pursuing is named Gus Jansen. And at this moment, Gus Jansen is in danger because in the office of the syndicate's nightclub, Gus looks down at Gordy Weber, sees the razor-sharp knife Gordy balances in his hand, hears,
Gus, you've been asking for this. Now you're going to get it.
You're scaring me.
I'm going to put my mark on you, Gus.
Have a cigarette, Gordy?
No, but you enjoy that one because it's the last one you'll smoke for a long, long time.
Gordy, I taught you how to use a shiv. I'm not going to hold still while you carve your initials in my hide. I'm going to show you a trick.
My eye! You flipped the cigarette in my eye!
How's your jaw, kid? You little jerk, I ought to give you the boots. Answer the phone, Gordy. Oh, he's out cold. Hello?
August. Is that your voice, August?
Yeah, it's me, JT. Say, it's great to hear your voice. When do I see you?
Why, I'm planning to come over now. Is Gordy there?
He's out for a second, JT. Shall I have him phone you?
Oh, no. I'll be there in 2 minutes.
2 minutes?
I I'm in the big storage garage in the block behind the nightclub. There's a private passage. Didn't Gordy tell you?
Well, we didn't get around to that, J.T. We've been cutting up old touches. Oh, which reminds me, I saw an old friend of yours in New Orleans.
Lucy? Did you run across Lucy?
I made a point of seeing her, J.T. She says, well, I'll give you her message when I see you, J.T.
I'll be there in a moment, August.
Yes, sir.
Come on, Gordy, wake up. Wake up. J.T.'s on his way over. Wake up, you little jerk. Forget your eye. J.T.'s on his way over.
JT's coming?
He just phoned. Come on, comb your hair.
Yeah. You tell JT we had a fight?
No. And I'm not going to tell him.
Why?
Well, why tell him? What's there to tell? A couple of old friends had an argument, that's all. Why get J.T. down on us?
Us?
Well, this is on the level, Gordy. I don't want him to know we had a little argument. Listen, Gordy. Listen. I understand the setup now. You give the orders, I do what you say. Okay, that's the way it is. Let's keep it like that. And let's keep this little argument under our hats.
I must be getting soft-headed. Okay.
Thanks, Gordy. We meet J.T. out front?
No, JT don't want to show here. He'll come straight to this office through the private passage.
Oh.
Yeah, watch those shelves in the corner.
Hey, they're moving.
Yeah, here he is. Morning, JT. You already spoke to Gus over the phone, so you and me can get right on these delivery figures here.
Hello, August.
J.T., you're looking great. Just great.
Like the setup?
Yeah. This is my second time out. I got in late yesterday afternoon. I tried to see you yesterday.
Oh, why didn't you?
Well, Gordy said you were all tied up. It doesn't matter since we finally got together. Gordy was telling me some of the operations he's lined up. I've got to hand it to this boy.
Now, wait a minute, Gus. They weren't my ideas. JT has the ideas. I just worked.
But you said... well, I was so glad to get back, maybe I didn't listen good. I mean it, J.T. Thanks for bringing me back.
If I have to send you away again, you won't come back, Gus.
You won't have to. You've done too much for me. I owe you too much, J.T. Sending me away so I could get back on my feet, that's the best thing that ever happened to me. I haven't had a drink, not even one, in 3 months and 6 days. I never felt better in my life. And I owe it all to you, J.T.
You're satisfied to come back and take orders from Gordy?
I'm so glad to be back. I wouldn't even break down when Gordy offered me a drink.
Huh? He offered you a drink, huh?
Well, just for old time's sake, J.T. Gordy here doesn't want to see me hit the bottle again. Anyhow, I turned him down. I'm back to stay, J.T. Oh, by the way, J.T., I've got something in the car for you. I'll see you guys in a minute.
He has a great deal of ability, Gordy.
Yeah.
What is it?
Well, I hate to tell you this, JT, but we'll have to send him away again.
We will?
Yeah, I don't like telling you this behind Gus's back, but I don't want to hurt him any more than I have to. He's a likable guy, but it's the same old thing, JT.
Liquor?
Uh-huh, and dames, Kate Beekman.
Tell me.
Well, she reported for work this morning. See, Gus happened to see her, and... well, I asked him to keep away from her, but he wouldn't listen. He even clipped me.
What?
Yeah, stuck me right in the jaw. Now, believe me, I hate to tell you this, JT, but I gotta be fair to you. The only reason I'm letting you know is to be fair to you. You can't trust him, especially when he starts belting the bottle.
He isn't drinking now.
Not yet, no, but I know Gus, JT. He held out, didn't you hear him say, for 3 months and 6 days? Sure, he counted every second, and sooner or later his foot will slip. I'm only thinking about the good of the organization. I want you to understand that, JT. I wish it wasn't me who had to tell you. I know how you feel about him. I like the guy, too.
He's a likable chap, as you say.
Except when he hits the bottle. I don't have to tell you. You can't trust him when he's drinking. And I know him, JT. He's itching for the bottle. And when a guy starts itching like that, there's only one way he can scratch. Look, JT, I'm awful sorry I had to tell you. I especially hate doing it behind Gus's back, but this way's easier for him.
How?
Well, because now you know how he is. You can ease him out without hurting him. Or if you have to get him all the way out, I say, if you have to. The boys can take care of him, and poor old Gus won't even know what hit him.
You think I should take him all the way out?
Well, you can't trust him. And a guy who knows as much as he does could be dangerous. But it's your decision, JT.
Yeah.
Here he is.
Interrupting?
We haven't finished yet.
Well, if you're at a stopping place, I brought this to J.T.
What is it?
Pralines. Special pralines from New Orleans. Here you are, J.T. I saw Lucy to get 'em for you. Oh, but, J.T., before you eat 'em, I'd better tell you something. I want to do it now in front of Gordy.
Huh?
Gordy's a real pal, and I won't talk behind a pal's back, especially a guy in the organization.
Oh, what do you mean?
Well, even old friends can have a falling out, and Gordy here is as hot-headed as a bantam rooster. That red-headed kid who works here at Miss Beekman, well, I met her this morning, and, well, look, Gordy, all you had to do was tell me you staked your claim.
Well, just a minute.
Honest, J.T., I only said I'd like to get acquainted, and boom, Gordy flew off the handle.
I flew off the handle.
Well, only in self-defense, kid. Here's your shiv. I had to take the knife away before he cut my necktie off. He's a bantam rooster, sure enough. Well, you, haven't tried the pralines.
Oh, wait a minute. Look, Gus.
It's okay, Gordy. I take the full blame. The girl's nothing to me. Now I know how you feel about her. I'll keep away from her and no hard feelings. Okay?
Listen, J.T., I...
Take the knife off the desk, Gordy.
You know what really happened, J.T. What...
You boys keep me young.
Listen, boss. I didn't try to stop him because I got a personal interest in a girl.
I know, Gordy.
Huh?
I know more than you think.
Well, it's nothing to laugh about, J.T.
Yes, it is. I understand you boys.
Well, then you know we can't work together.
Oh, yes, indeed you can, my boy. A keen rivalry brings out the very best in men. Yeah, and something else. The girl is not the real bone of contention between you. And even if she were, well, you leave the girl alone. I have a use for her, you understand? She was brought here for my purpose.
I tried to tell
Wait a
Gus
minute.
that.
You don't mean you like her looks, J.T. She's not your type.
That is correct, August. I have no romantic interest. But, later. Well, never mind. Now, I warn you, boys, there'll be no more of this. You'll get along because you have a job to do. At least you'll get along until one of you breaks. Now, August, tell me about Lucy.
Well, as you just heard, August Jansen, the man Perry Mason seeks, is smooth, clever, and so is Gordy Weber. And since Kate Beekman is trapped in the conflict between Gus and Gordy and J.T., there's urgent reason for Perry Mason to speed his search. By all means, hear tomorrow's important development. It's early evening, hours after the close of our last episode. As in Mason's offices, the lawyer looks at his watch for the 10th time in the past 10 minutes. Decides unwillingly he has no other choice but to wait for an important message. Asks his secretary to send down for ham sandwiches and coffee. Well, Mason is going to get his information before he has time to eat his sandwich, as we'll learn in just a few moments. But first, let's join August Jansen, the man Mason is pursuing, as Gus enters a large city mansion, follows the servant into a lavishly furnished drawing room, flashes a friendly smile at the very fat, beautifully tailored man who waits for him.
J.T., excuse me while I rub my eyes.
What, August?
The mansion.
You like my house?
It's beautiful. Only it's not a house. It's a palace.
Well, sit down. What?
I was thinking, if you have a place like this, the big fellow must live in a skyscraper.
The big fellow does very well for himself, you may be sure. Or did you have a particular reason for asking about the big fella?
J.T., this is Gus. I'm not interested in the big fella. He's your baby.
Sit down.
Now, I'll stay on my feet so I can get out of your way. You're all dressed to go out. It's great to be back, J.T.
You needn't ever have gone, August.
I know. The bottle got the best of me. But I'm okay now.
Now, I'm going to have a brandy. Will you join me?
You, put me on the spot, J.T.
How do you mean?
Well, I've got it licked. I can take it or leave it alone.
And?
Well, I'd rather leave it alone. I'm not scared to take a drink because I know I can stop with one.
I'm glad you're back, August. You're a valuable man, as I told you. Now, don't begin again by lying to me. You're afraid to take a drink. I know it. No, don't lie. You're afraid because you can't stop with one.
I could never fool you, J.T. You're right. I'm scared I'll dive in the bottle, but my foot's not going to slip, J.T., I swear.
Don't make any promises, August. I'll know if your foot slips. If it does, you're out. Be sure you understand that, because you'll be washed up.
Yes.
I'll be watching you, August. So will Gordy.
Huh.
You don't like that, huh?
No, I don't like it. Gordy and I started working for you at the same time. Now you've put me under him, when before he was taking orders from me.
Can't you take it, Gus?
Yeah, but it's not easy.
That's one reason you're taking orders from Gordy.
Testing me out?
Yep.
I'll take what I've got to take.
You brought it on yourself, Gus. You could be sitting where Gordy is sitting, perhaps higher.
Well, that's the thing, J.T., and I'm on the level. I'll show him up.
You think so?
I'm smarter than Gordy.
I can depend on Gordy.
Well, now you can depend on me. I'm going to be pushing and shoving every minute. Like right now. Look at this. When you sent me to the country to get straightened out, I didn't just lick my wounds. I've been working. Here's 65 outlets, new outlets for cars we can deliver. Some of them can only handle 1 or 2 a week. But when we get this rolling, we'll need every outlet we can get.
Very good, my boy. Very good indeed.
And things are already picking up. Gordy gave me an order to pick up 82 1953 models. I'll start rounding up some boys tonight. Oh, by the way, that's too many of one model to pick up in a short time. At least that's what I think.
You tell Gordy your opinion?
Mm-hmm. And I'm not going over his head to you, J.T., just explaining my problem. I'll just have the cars picked up in 4 states instead of in just this one.
Very well, August.
And I didn't spend all my time working, J.T.
Hey, have a good time in New Orleans?
New Orleans, Mobile, Atlanta, Denver, L.A., Frisco, and Vegas. J.T., I met some dolls in Vegas that... Look, if you can take a weekend off and fly out, I can show you a real time.
That might be enjoyable. Later, when I have time.
Yeah, I'll get out of your way now. You going on a party?
Yeah, my broker is coming for dinner.
Oh, business meeting. Have fun.
It won't be too dull. Oh, I'll show you what I mean.
How's that?
That buzzer rings when anybody comes in the front entrance. Now, this is a panel with... Hey, you can see the foyer through this panel. Take a look at my broker.
She's a broker?
Miss Egan is an astute businesswoman.
Oh, you don't say.
Mm-hmm.
I was just thinking, you've also got an eye for figures, if you know what I mean.
Oh, you'd better leave by this door.
I'll be seeing you, J.T.
Now, just a moment. One thing more. The young lady you were going with before I sent you away. I refer to the young lady who can identify you.
I know who you mean.
Are you positive her trail is covered?
I saw to it personally. She can't be found.
Be certain, Gus.
I am. See you, J.T.
Wait. One last word of warning. The other girl, the one in the nightclub.
Kate Beekman?
You understand you're to leave her alone?
Sure. You care to tell me what you're going to use her for?
Nope.
Okay. Be seeing you, J.T., and have a good business date with your broker.
Archie, Paul phone?
No, not yet. Look, you can go home if you want to.
No, thanks. Paul wouldn't be late without reason. Oh, there he is. I'll let him in.
Hi, beautiful.
Hi, Paul.
Sorry I'm late, Perry. I got hold of something I couldn't let go.
Just so you got something.
Yeah, but I've taken it as far as I can without asking you. Well, I got him staked out. I've been going steady ever since you put me on this. You got any idea how many doctors there are in a mile radius of where the girl cut her hand?
I'm interested in only one doctor.
Yeah, I know, but look at this.
What?
A street map of the district. I got a medical directory and checked the address of every doctor in the area. Now, here's the place the girl got out. Take a look at all the places I checked. I saw right away it'd take time to talk with all those doctors, so I took a leaf from Mr. Mason's book and I cut a corner. I had a man check with the cab companies, and it paid off. I had the girl's description, and she had her hand cut, and I figured she was scared. So it paid off late this afternoon. Driver for Plaid Cabs remembered a pretty young blonde got out of his cab a block from the soda shop. The exact date is October the 28th.
Note that, fellow.
Yes, Chief.
Now, the driver remembered the address he took her to, but somebody else checked on the girl.
Oh?
Yeah, I got his description. for what it's worth. He was a big, young, nice-looking guy.
Was the cabman remember him if he saw him again?
You think so? I figure the guy checking up is the syndicate guy who hurt the girl.
Probably. All right, we'll come back to that.
Well, the cab driver took the girl to a drugstore, not a doctor. Scott's drugstore was the nearest address.
You talked with the druggist, of course.
Well, Mr. Scott is a busy man, and he wanted no truck with a private detective. So I got right to the point. I said, if you'll consult your records, give me the name and address of the girl you treated for a cut hand on the night of October the 28th, I will get out of your way. He tells me he's a druggist, not a doctor. And I says, I know that. There was an emergency, and he says, there is no such girl.
Did you mention the cab driver?
Oh, no. Because if I had, he could have called me a liar, and I could have called him a liar, and there we'd be looking at each other.
Well, maybe he didn't treat the girl. She could have gone somewhere else.
Yeah,
Oh?
she could have. The driver didn't see her go in Scott's drugstore, but she did go in. I've been watching guys answer questions a long time, Perry. Mr. Scott was lying.
You think he did treat her?
I'm not positive, but I'm morally certain he lied to me. Anyhow, I got out of there as quick as I could and put a couple of men on him. I had an idea you'd want to investigate him thoroughly.
No. Get Lieutenant Halverson, Bella.
Right.
Paul, you didn't let him know that you're suspicious.
Oh, he thinks I swallowed.
That's good.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's Lieutenant. Here's Lieutenant Chief.
Thank you, Bella. Hello, Halverson.
Yes.
Listen, can you meet me outside, just a second.
862 Cedar Drive.
Outside 862 Cedar Drive in an hour? Yes, I'll explain when I see you. And, Don, wear a pair of heavy shoes. Because we're going to step on some toes. We're going to come down hard. In just 1 hour.
Well, Gus Jansen is glad to be back in association with J.T.'s syndicate. Gus is confident no one could possibly uncover the trail which leads to him. But, as you heard, Perry Mason is already on that trail. Be sure and join us tomorrow, won't you? As you know, Perry Mason is following a secret trail which can lead him to a key figure in J.T.'s crime syndicate. We'll join Perry Mason in just a few moments. First, the man Mason is seeking enters a dingy side street saloon, elbows his way to the crowded bar, speaks to the very short young man who barely comes to his shoulder.
Hello, Junior.
Well, Mr. Jansen. Gee, hello, Mr. Jansen.
Hello, Junior.
What do you have, Mr. Jansen?
Nothing for me. I never touch the stuff.
Are you kidding?
Nope. Let's go back in where we can talk.
Anything you say, Mr. Jansen. We can go in here. You back with the outfit, Mr. Jansen?
That's right. I've been looking for you.
Okay, go ahead and say it.
Say what, kid?
How hard it is to find a little squirt like me.
This is Gus Jansen, Junior. Now, did you forget the kind of guy I am since I went away?
Oh, no, sir. But I always worked for Gordy, and I got used to his... You got something for me, Mr. Jansen?
Yeah. I'm working for Gordy now.
Come again?
I work under Gordy now. That's what the big boss says.
Why, Gordy always worked under you, and all the guys used to say that... Oh, Gordy's not 1, 2, 3 to you, Mr. Jansen.
Nice to hear you say it, Junior. But now we got work to do, so all set? Gordy wants us to pick up some 1953 models, medium-low price stuff. Get the boys together and spot them for me, okay?
Me get the boys together?
I'm making you manager for my spotters. You think you can handle it?
Oh, you just watch me, Mr. Jansen.
We gotta keep Gordy happy. What's the matter? Don't you care if Gordy's happy?
I'm working for you now, Mr. Jansen.
Well, you used to do special work for him.
Used to.
You quit him, Junior?
I still work on the cars. But I've been too busy to do special jobs for Mr. Weber.
Well, how'd you like to do a little special work for me?
Anything you say, Mr. Jansen. Why, you always treated me like a man.
Anything, kid? Even if it means walking behind Gordy?
Just tell me what you want.
Well, it's like this, Junior. I'm working for Gordy now, but I don't like working for Gordy, you know?
I know.
So we'll kind of check up on Gordy and, that's later on. But maybe you can tell me this for now. Gordy used to be good friends with the girl handling entertainment at the club, Tony
Yeah, they were real chums.
Still that way?
No, not lately. Gordy's been watching a redhead.
Kate Beekman?
Yeah, that's her. He's been so busy watching her, he's got no time for Miss Facina. Miss Facina don't like it.
Not bad.
You know Miss Facina?
Slightly. Not nearly as well as I'm going to know her, you know. Junior, can you slip me her address?
Sure, swell.
I'm going to drop in on her tonight.
Meanwhile, across the street from a neighborhood drugstore.
There's Lieutenant Halverson, Chief.
Yes, I see him. All right. Hop out, Della.
Mr. Mason, Miss Street.
Hi, Lieutenant.
Let's go, Halverson.
Mind telling me what's up?
I'll tell you as we go along. This drugstore belongs to Mr. Scott.
I can read the sign.
Mr. Scott is withholding information. He lied to Paul Drake when Paul questioned him. So we are going to lie to Mr. Scott to pry him loose.
What are we going to lie to him about?
Well, I'm taking a chance, but it's like this. The girl got out of a cab here the night she disappeared. Now, the driver didn't see her go inside the drugstore, but I am certain that she did.
We tell the druggist that the driver did see her go inside.
Yes, and I want you to back me up because I think he's an honest man.
Now, wait a minute. He lied to your man.
Yeah, Paul checked. And we think that he's honest. And an honest man who steps out of line is impressed with the authority of an officer of the law.
Mm-hmm. So you're going to beat him over the head with me, hmm?
Because he lied to us.
Yeah.
Because Lord only knows what's happened to that girl, and because we've got to find her before we can smash the syndicate. You in or out?
Let's go.
Not many people.
Oh, well, he's ready to close up. Oh, he's in the prescription room, Don. You take it and be a little tough.
Right. Yes? I'm Police Lieutenant Halverson. We want to talk to you.
Yes, of course. Police?
That's right. Here's my identification.
Oh, don't flash that in here. Come back to my office.
No, this is okay.
Please, Lieutenant, just behind the partition.
All right, you lead the way.
What's the front, Billy?
Okay, Mr. Scott. This is Mr. Perry Mason, an attorney, and Miss Street, his secretary.
We'll come right to the point, Mr. Scott. There is a misunderstanding on your part. The Drake Detective Agency is conducting an investigation for me.
Agency? Oh, I understood you're a policeman.
Lieutenant Halverson here is a police officer. Now, Halverson is ready to take over if he's forced to. I'm trying to locate a young woman. I don't know her name. I do know her description.
Oh, yes. Mr. Drake asked me, but I told Mr. Drake.
That you didn't see her. But you must have forgotten. Because we also know the girl in question cut her hand on the night she disappeared. We know she took a cab to this address, came inside, and you treated her for the cut. The date was October 28th.
Oh, that's preposterous.
Yes, I quite agree. Your statement is preposterous, since we know she did come here.
Now,
and...
see here, Mr. Mason, I don't know what you've been told.
The taxi driver saw her leave his cab. He watched through the window as she came back and spoke to you. He saw her and you very clearly.
The man's lying.
What?
The taxi driver's lying. Or perhaps mistaken.
The driver was positive, didn't you think, Lieutenant?
He convinced me as much as he did you, Mr. Mason.
Well, if you choose to believe a taxi driver instead of a reputable
A
professional
man is a man, no matter what he does.
And we're at loggerheads. I say I never saw the girl. Driver says I did. It's my word against his.
All right, Lieutenant, we'll have to do it your way. Good night, Mr. Scott. Come to the street. You can get going immediately, Lieutenant.
Just a minute. What do you mean, handle it his way?
Why, the police way, Mr. Scott. Lieutenant Halverson will bring a crew of his men to the neighborhood, question the neighbors, your
That's an outrage. I don't have to submit.
The lieutenant has no choice. It's his duty to learn if you or the cab driver is lying.
Now, just a minute. Please sit down, sir. Sit down, Mr. Mason.
You have something to say, Mr. Scott?
Well, I only want justice, Mr. Mason. A man's occupation does have a bearing. You're a professional man.
Mm-hmm. And if the police want to investigate me, they will do it. Just as they'll investigate you.
But you don't understand. I have something to tell you. As a matter of fact, I'm in an awkward position, but I feel you're due an explanation. There was an unfortunate episode here in the neighborhood 3 years ago, and unfortunately I was implicated. Only in a way, you understand, only in a way.
What happened?
Well, as a matter of fact, one of our customers, a young lady, attempted to take her life. She used a barbiturate, sleeping pills. I sold them to her.
That's against the law.
Oh, well, she had a prescription, but she had forged the signature. Unfortunately, this occurred at a time when there was much publicity in regard to the dispensation of narcotics, and through no fault of my own, you understand...
Some of the publicity rubbed off on you?
That's it exactly. And it was unfortunate because the success of a neighborhood pharmacy depends on the trust of one's customers. Now, you see that, Mr. Mason. It was terribly embarrassing, terribly. My business fell off appreciably as a result.
What happened to her?
The girl who tried to do away with herself? I really don't know. But as I was saying, naturally, you understand why I'm particularly sensitive to publicity.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I knew you would understand, Lieutenant. I'm sorry I can't be of
let's
assistance.
go, Mr. Mason. I got work to do.
Lieutenant, are you going to make an investigation after I've explained?
All that didn't mean a thing to me, Doc.
But you can't. Mr. Mason, I appeal to you.
No, I don't tell the lieutenant what he can or can't do. But I'll tell you this. If I could, I would tell him to go ahead.
Mr. Mason,
We need to find that girl, Mr. Scott. She can lead us to members of a criminal syndicate. That is more important than you, or me, or any one person. If you cooperate, we'll do what we can to protect your privacy. Persist in being stubborn. It's your reputation.
So that's it. You dare threaten me. I call on you to witness this man's bald threat. Will you pay for this, Mr. Mason? I'll see you hailed into court.
That may be. And I'll take my chances. This is more important than any of us, and that goes for me also. However, I'm not really worried, because I think I have the winning hand. I think I've got a cinch. So I'm checking it to you.
Mr. Mason...
I'm calling your bluff, Mr. Scott. Here and now. Now, what are you going to do, Mr. Scott? Call or fold up?
Well, what do you think Mr. Scott's answer will be? As you can tell, there'll be important and exciting developments in the immediate future. So by all means, join us tomorrow, won't you? Mr. Scott, pharmacist, is an able man. His abilities have earned him a profitable drugstore, a big, comfortable house, a big and comforting bank account. But at this moment, Mr. Scott is up against something tougher than he's ever faced. He's trying to block Perry Mason's determination to get the truth. And Mr. Scott is a frightened, shaken man, as in the rear of his store, his eyes skid away from Perry Mason's, find no comfort when he looks from Miss Street to Lieutenant Halverson and back to Mason again.
Now, I suggest we don't get excited, Mr. Mason.
I suppose I am excited, Mr. Scott. I'm after a dangerous man. His associates are dangerous. I find the chase stimulating.
Dangerous man? You asked me about a young girl.
Who can lead us to the man Mr. Mason's talking about. I'm excited, too, Mr. Scott.
Well, I suppose I got a bit excited myself, but it's perfectly understandable. You people came in here and delivered an ultimatum.
You're stalling again. Tell us about the girl, or...
No, not so fast, Mr. Mason. You see, what I'm about to tell you doesn't quite agree with what I said at first.
You did see the girl.
Well, as a matter of actual fact...
Let's have it, Doc.
Yes, of course. As I was saying, at first I didn't even remember. It's such a trivial matter.
You didn't remember a pretty blonde girl coming to you with a cut hand late at night when you were about to close up?
That's perfectly understandable. What was the date?
October 28th.
Oh, yes. Now, you see, I'd even forgotten the date. All right, Mr. Mason. On that particular night, a young lady did come here.
The girl we described?
She might have been.
She had a cut hand?
Yes. As a matter of fact, she did. She asked me to bandage it. Of course, I couldn't do that.
You turned her away?
Well, I had no choice. I'm not a physician. I'm a pharmacist. However, I seem to remember that she had a serious wound that needed medical attention, and I told her so. And so she turned and left, saying that she'd get another cab.
That's all you did? Doctor, and turned her away?
Uh-huh, yes.
Mr. Scott, I believe that you were basically a good, trustworthy, kind man. I do not believe you would turn away a nice girl who was seriously injured. So I'll make a bargain with you. Now, you tell us everything you said, and she said, everything you learned from her and about her. Tell us freely and frankly, and you have my word that we'll do all we can to protect you. You know the alternative. The lieutenant will start hammering with everything he's got, in the open. That's up to you, Mr. Scott.
That sounds fair enough, Doc.
All right, gentlemen.
Get your notebook, fella.
Right.
Is she going to take notes?
Mr. Scott, it's time you trusted us. We're ready to trust you.
I know your reputation, Mr. Mason. That's the only reason I dare trust you. You'll see why. The girl came here, as you know. She had a fairly deep cut on the palm of her hand. It was bleeding heavily. She needed emergency treatment, and, of course, I gave it to her. I bathed the cut in antiseptic, bandaged it, and told her to go to a physician at once.
She give you a name and address?
Yes, a false name.
Do you know her real name?
Probably.
Well, what were you going to do about finding out her real name?
Let him tell it, will you, Don?
Naturally, I asked her how she'd been hurt, and she told me it was a minor traffic accident. Well, of course, at first I accepted her story without question.
Well, how come you changed your mind?
The girl was afraid. Kept asking me to hurry, looking over her shoulder at the front door. Yes, she was afraid. That made me notice something about the cut in her hand. It could have been a defense wound.
A what?
Wound you get defending yourself from a knife attack? How did you know, Mr. Scott?
Well, I've read a little of criminal medicine, but even though I thought I recognized a defense wound, even though she was obviously frightened, she was so obviously well-mannered, I was reluctant to question her.
And yet you did.
Yes, sir. I asked her point blank if she'd been attacked with a knife. She changed her story of being in an accident. She admitted she'd been cut by a knife, but she said a friend, a young man, had been showing her a knife and teasing her. She said the young man had been drinking.
Had she?
Oh, no, miss. No, definitely not. I gained the impression she was a gently reared young lady. But her friend had been drinking. He was teasing her with the knife. She became annoyed, as she told me, and slapped at the knife, cutting her hand.
You believe her?
Yes. Strange as it sounds, I believe she told the truth.
She did. That is essentially what happened, with the exception that her friend was deliberately frightening her. He is the man we're after.
I guessed. He was successful, Mr. Mason. She was frightened. That was why, even though I wanted to believe her, I examined her pocketbook when she wasn't looking. I saw her driver's license. The name she'd given me was false. The name on the driver's license was Miss Suzanne Barkley.
Barkley?
Yes.
Address?
I don't recall.
Here we go again.
I'm telling the truth now, Lieutenant. I simply don't recall the address. I remember it wasn't this part of the city.
Was there an occupation listed?
Well, I do remember that. It was student.
Suzanne Barkley, student.
All right, Mr. Scott. Is there something else?
Proof I'm telling the truth, Mr. Mason? Yes, there is something else. I spoke to the young man who frightened and injured Miss Barkley.
Well, give, Doc.
This may not help, Lieutenant. It's all I know. You must wonder why I didn't report to the authorities. Well, I didn't because I was afraid. That young man frightened me. The night of October 28th, the night Suzanne Barkley came to me for help, and I helped her, I closed the store as usual. This was shortly after she left. I started for my car, parked in the alley. When I stepped into the shadows, a man stopped me. He told me to stay perfectly still and I would not be harmed. The man had been drinking.
Did you see him?
No, it was absolutely dark. The man knew of the girl's coming to me. He also knew of the unfortunate publicity to which I referred earlier.
Mm-hmm.
He threatened me. He swore he'd see me broken, my name branded, if I ever repeated what I've just told to you. I was afraid of him. I'm not proud of myself, Mr. Mason. I was afraid. But more than afraid, I've sacrificed and worked harder than I can tell you. I could remember how nearly I lost my business through publicity and through no fault of my own.
Well, didn't you wonder about her? A nice girl mixed up with a guy like that?
I said I'm not proud of myself, Lieutenant.
Can you tell us anything more, Mr. Scott? Okay, let's go, Don.
Mr. Mason. Yes. Even if you can't keep me out of it, I pray you find her. She was a nice girl. And the man who threatened me, well, I don't frighten more easily than the average man. He frightened me. I pray you find me before he finds that girl.
He didn't know where she was?
No, but he was searching for her.
At least he didn't know then. That's something.
Yes, something. Well, I pray your prayer is answered, Mr. Scott. All right, Harrelson, let's get busy.
As you know, the man who injured Sue Barkley, who frightened Mr. Scott, is named August Jansen. And as you also know, Gus Jansen has lately returned to the city to resume his association with the syndicate. Gus has been very busy since his return. He's busy now.
Yeah?
Just a moment.
Hello? Hello, Gordy?
I'm sorry to disappoint you, Miss Facina. It isn't Gordy.
Who says I'm disappointed? Who is it?
Well, you may not remember me, Miss Facina. We met a couple of times, but you were with someone else. Once at the High Hat Club, and once at a little party I threw at a place I used to have.
Jansen. August Jansen.
Well, you do remember.
What do you want?
Perhaps you don't know that I'm associated with Gordy in the nightclub. The nightclub where you're also associated with Gordy?
Did Gordy tell you to phone me?
Well, he could have. I'm kind of working for Gordy.
He told me.
I see. No, Gordy didn't tell me to phone you. I did it on my own hook.
Why?
Same old reason, Tony. It's as old as the invention of men and women.
Oh, you're lonesome. Gus Jensen, the boy the girls fall over. Now, don't tell me you're lonesome.
Not exactly, but I think you are.
What?
Lonesome for Gordy. And I also think we have certain interests in common.
Now, what's that mean?
Well, I'd be glad to tell you. Why can't I talk to you, Tony?
It's your dime.
I mean, face to face. Discuss our common interests, and you're interested in Gordy.
Maybe. So?
Well, I am, too. Why don't I drop up?
Why don't you?
I'm downstairs. See you in a minute.
Hey, give a girl time to get dressed.
Well, then I'll make it a minute and a half. See you, Tony.
Gus Jansen didn't sound particularly menacing, did he? The man's dangerous. And even as Perry Mason follows the trail to him, Gus Jansen is busying himself with his own schemes and plans. All of which adds up to excitement and action for Perry Mason and for Jansen. You'll join us on Monday, won't you? It's early evening, immediately after the close of our last episode, when Mason learned the identity of Suzanne Barkley, the girl Mason believes can identify a key member of the auto theft syndicate. Now, as Mason, his secretary, and Police Lieutenant Halverson leave Mr. Scott's drugstore.
Okay, Mr. Mason, here's your car. You can follow me to the traffic division.
Traffic division?
Where I'll get Sue Barkley's address.
Well, how, Lieutenant? Oh, from a driver's license.
Right.
I'm afraid it isn't going to be that simple, Don.
Why not?
Well, you'll find an address, but you won't find Sue Barkley that easily. Remember what we know of her and her relationship with the syndicate.
Well, she works for the syndicate, man, like a lot of kids work for him.
With a difference. Sue Barkley knows his identity. He wasn't so careful with her.
Maybe he liked her.
Yes, it could be. That fits the facts we know.
I don't get your point, Mr. Mason, and time's a wasting. Now, we heard a rumor just before I met you. There's talk the syndicate's going to step up operations.
Well, I'll relay that to Mr. Wallace.
Who?
Donald Wallace, representative for the insurance companies.
Okay, you do that. I'll get busy finding Miss
Now,
Barkley.
wait. Now, don't go off half-cocked. Don, she worked for the syndicate man. She was closer to him than the others. Perhaps Della has guessed the reason. Then they broke up. She quit. They had an argument. He frightened her, and she ran away. The man looked for her, Don.
You mean he knew her address, which means she isn't there anymore.
Probably. Now, I don't say give up, but...
We won't, Mr. Mason. We've got advantages, too.
And we'll need all we've got. We have to find Sue Barkley before the syndicate man finds her. We know some things about him, too, Don. He's a twisted individual. If he should find the girl before we do, well, you see what we're up against.
Yeah. I phone you at Mr. Wallace's?
Yes, Della here will give you his unlisted number.
Yes.
Now, Don,
Here.
I don't mean to throw cold water on you, but...
You didn't. I want that guy more than ever. Okay, Mr. Mason, I'll phone you as soon as I get her address.
Well, the man who also searched for Sue Barkley is named August Jansen. And as of this moment, Gus is confident Sue will never lead anyone to him. In fact, he's concerned with what he feels to be more urgent matters. Gus is fighting to regain his former position in the syndicate. Gus is scheming to undermine his superior, Gordy Weber. Which is why August Jansen is paying a visit to Gordy's girl.
Hello, Miss Vecina.
You barely gave me time to get dressed.
Well, aren't you going to ask me in?
Come in, if you think you should.
Why not?
Gordy won't like it when he finds out you came to call.
Oh, I don't think you will tell him.
Well, you've got another thing coming, Gus. He's coming up from his apartment, and the first thing I'll tell him is that you sneaked in here behind his back.
When's he coming?
30 minutes. I won't tell him, huh?
Oh, I'm sure you will, if you decide it's the proper thing. I'm certain you're as loyal to Gordy as he is to you.
Uh-huh. So why won't I tell him, since I'm so true to him?
Because you wouldn't gain a thing.
Oh, yeah? Maybe I'm just a mean female. Maybe I'd get a kick out of seeing you in a jam.
Tony, I came here in good faith to talk about you and Gordy and me. We've got common interests, Tony.
What?
Gordy. I'm interested in Gordy mainly because I work for him.
So do I.
But you have a more personal interest. You willing to spend a minute or two?
talking about Gordy?
Maybe. Gordy told me he brought you back to give you another chance.
What else did he tell you?
About what?
Oh, the nightclub business?
Nothing. I can guess you fellas have other business interests, but Gordy's never told me.
Well, let's leave it at that. I work for Gordy in the other business.
Okay. And?
And I want to make good.
And?
You can help me by putting in a good word with Gordy.
Why? Just tell me that, good-looking. Why will I help put you in salad with Gordy?
Because I can do favors for you. Tell me if I'm wrong, Tony. But I get the idea Gordy doesn't have much time for you lately.
Who told you?
No, it doesn't matter. It's true, isn't it?
No. We've both been busy. He's called me up lots of times when I was too busy to see him.
Oh, yes. Yes, you're in charge of club entertainment.
Yeah,
And that red-haired girl, Beekman. She's helping you, right?
What about her?
Isn't she helping you? I heard she and Gordy...
What did you hear?
Nothing.
Yes, you did. Now tell me. You started to say something.
No, it wasn't anything.
You know what I think? I think you came here to make trouble.
No, I didn't, Tony. Tony, I want to trade you favor for favor. Now, take tonight, for example. You've got a date with Gordy, but I'm supposed to make a report to him. When I make my report, Gordy will have an excuse to break his date with you.
Why?
To follow up on what I tell him. Now, Gordy might let me follow up for him. If I was in solid, he would let me follow up.
You expect me to phone him and tell him that...
You're not being reasonable, Tony. Of course, you can't do anything yet. But in the future... Well, that's my proposition. There'll be other times when I could take over and leave Gordy more time for you.
Huh.
And just to show my good faith, I'll do what I can about tonight. Now, use your phone. I have to make my report. You can listen to what I have to say if I make it from here.
Okay. Go ahead. The number's...
Yeah. Gordy, this is Gus. I can deliver those units 5 days earlier than we expected. I thought you'd be happy.
I had a date.
You want me to follow up so you can keep your date?
You take the report to JT? Huh.
Well, I don't mind, Gordy. It's only routine.
Now, look, get this straight, Gus. I deal with JT. Me, Gordy.
Whatever you say.
I'm telling you. I'll take the report to him, and now I'm going to hang up.
You sure you don't want me to take over for you, Gordy? Yeah, I know, but since you've got a date... Yeah, well, the report won't take long. Oh, what? You were looking for an excuse. Uh-oh. I see. Well, it's your business, Gordy. What? Yeah, I saw Miss Beekman at the club today. No, she didn't happen to say what she's doing this evening. I thought, Yeah, sure. See you, kid. Well, you heard me, Tony. I tried to take over for him.
What did Gordy say about her?
Who? Oh, Miss Beekman. Why, he didn't say anything. I mean, he asked me if I happened to notice how she's getting along. That's all.
He won't break our date.
I hate to let you down, Tony, but since he wouldn't let me deliver the report...
It won't take him long. I heard you say it won't take him long. He'll be a little late, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But he won't break our date. I know he won't.
The phone's ringing.
Yeah. Hello?
Hello, Tony.
Hello, Gordy.
How's the girl?
Fine, honey. I'm just waiting for you.
Yeah, well, I got bad news, kid. Something happened a minute ago. Business associate just come in from out of town. He wants a conference. I'm sorry, Tony. We'll have to put off our date.
Because of some visiting fireman? What about me? Don't I count for anything?
Now, listen, Tony. This is business. The date's off, and that's that.
Well, can't you even come by for a few minutes after your conference?
I don't know. Maybe.
Maybe?
If I'm not too late. Goodbye, Tony.
Think over what I said, Tony. You put me in solid with Gordy. He'll give me more to do. That'll give him more time for you. Okay?
For me? Or for the redhead?
Ah, she's only a kid. But she is good looking.
Yeah. Well, you may as well hang around, Gus. I'll fix your lemonade.
Thanks just the same, Tony. I've got some other work I can do. You think over what I said. You'll have time to think it over. Night, Tony.
August Jansen has his weaknesses, but his warped brain is clever. He's going to cause trouble, not only for Gordy Weber, but for Perry Mason and Sue Barkley, and also for Kate Beekman. By all means, hear tomorrow's important development. Perry Mason is about to be surprised. As you know, Perry has learned Sue Barkley's name. But even though the girl can give key information about the auto theft syndicate, even though Police Lieutenant Halverson is confident he can learn Sue's address immediately, Perry Mason is not confident he'll learn more about Sue in the immediate future. But as we'll see in a few moments, Mason is going to make an immediate and strange discovery in connection with Sue Barkley. Now it's 8:30 at night. Shortly after the close of our last episode, as...
I appreciate your coming here, Mr. Mason. I've been under the weather.
Oh?
Nothing serious. Come, Mr. Mason.
Well, I have some news, Mr. Wallace, and I'm expecting a report from Lieutenant Halverson on your private line.
Oh, well, through this door, please.
Thank you.
Well, Mr. Mason?
Well, my other news can wait. You may want to act on this. Lieutenant Halverson's underground contact picked up a rumor. The syndicate is going to step up operations.
What?
Well, there's new money in circulation with the promise of more to come.
I'm going to... Going to what? We're doing all we can now. Advertising campaign, warning the public, private operatives. How are we going to stop them, Mason?
There's just one way to stop them. We both know it. Now, you want to do anything about this rumor I just gave you?
Oh, I'll do it in the morning. I'll notify the other companies. You know what'll happen? We'll keep on letting you fight our fight for us. We've gone soft, Mason. At least I have. Something has taken the starch out of me.
Oh, is that...
Oh, that's the domestic phone.
Oh.
Yes? Yes, my dear. Very well. I'll see you in the morning. My sister and her family have made their home with me since her husband passed away. You have more news, Mason?
Yes, I do, Mr. Wallace. Now, as you know, the syndicate operates on two levels. There's the inner circle of key men and then the small fry who actually steal the cars, preferably young people.
Yes.
The inner circle keep their identities secret from the underlings. Only one of them made a mistake.
Oh?
One of the syndicate's key figures let his identity become known to a young girl.
Huh?
No, we don't know who he is, but we have learned the girl's identity. And when we find her, she can tell us who he is.
We know her name, and Lieutenant Halverson is confident he can learn her address.
So it sounds like 1, 2, 3, but I'm afraid it won't be so simple.
Girl won't talk.
Oh, she'll talk. We had a violent argument with this syndicate man, but she is probably no longer at her address.
What?
We think she's run away.
Oh. How strange.
What, Mr. Wallace?
How strange that... how strange you've learned so much about her.
Well, now, we believe the girl has run away because the syndicate man is known to her, and he must have known her address. We have learned that he searched for her.
They had a violent argument, you say?
Yes.
Searched for her, did he? Wanted to seal her lips.
So we believe.
The man's a beast. I follow your reasoning. He would have found her at once if she had not run away.
Yes, but however, we have the police behind us. We should find the girl before the syndicate man comes.
Excuse me. That's the private line. I'll see it. Yes? Speaking. Oh, yes. Yes, he's here. Mr. Mason.
Thank you. Hello, Halverson. Yeah, did you... Oh, good.
You found her address, Chief?
Yes. Okay, Halverson, shoot. What? Yes, I heard you. No, stay where you are. I'll phone you back. No, Don, I say I'll phone you back. From the home of Mr. Wallace at 101 La Sona Drive. Yes, you heard me. Mr. Wallace.
Yes.
The girl I just told you about. His name's Suzanne Barkley. Her address is 101 La Sona Drive. Your niece?
Good God, yes.
Mr. Wallace.
I'm all right, Miss Snyder.
Please sit down, sir.
No, I'm all right. You could be mistaken.
No, the facts fit.
Mr. Wallace, you told us of a young girl. You said you were a family friend. A girl who disappeared.
Sue, I told you about my niece. She ran away 3 months ago.
October 28th.
What? Yes. Her mother and I knew she was involved, but... Good Lord, Mason, I didn't know to what extent. We kept it out of the papers. Police, private detectives have been searching for months. And now you tell me... Not an accident. A criminal beast tracking her down, seeking her out.
Mr. Wallace.
My sister's girl.
Mr. Wallace, we
Sue,
don't know that he has found her. We don't think he has. Yet. We can be first. We can put what we know with what you have learned. Now, you mentioned a name.
What? Oh, yes. My sister heard Sue speak to a man over the phone. Gus. She called him Gus.
Only a first name? Oh.
All right, that's something. We know more than we did. If we keep fighting, we can learn enough to find your niece and to smash the man behind the syndicate.
But how? The police have failed to find a trace of her.
Now, we know something they didn't know. And there is a way. There has to be a way. It's up to us to find it. And we will.
Meanwhile, some distance away in another sumptuous mansion, J.T. Dorothy, the man behind the syndicate, smiles at the lovely young woman beside him, stands up and...
Pardon me, Irene. I'll return in a moment. Business, you know.
Yeah.
Well, Gordon.
Hi, J.T. I'm glad you can see me.
It isn't convenient. I'm in conference with my broker.
Well, this is going to make you and the big fella and your broker happy. I'm going to start delivery on those cars a week early.
Oh? Well, this will advance our schedule. Congratulate Gus for me.
Gus?
Well, didn't Gus speed up the operation?
Well, in a way, yeah, but only in a way. I'm the guy who got behind him and shoved him off dead center. I said, Gus, we're going to step things up. We're going to make J.T. happy. So get the boys in gear because I'm going to tromp on the throttle. Yes, sir. So when you pass out congratulations, boss, don't forget Gordy.
All right, you've got a point. And you've made me happy, my boy, because you've gained this time for, something else. A special operation, shall I say. I'd planned to wait to see if Gus would stay in line and give him the chance.
Well, you're the boss, J.T., but
Now, don't push us too hard, Gordy. Yeah, I may let you try. You know why I sent Gus out of town? I gave him a special assignment similar to the one I'm thinking of giving to you. He became careless. He let drink get the upper hand.
Well, you just give me the chance, J.T. I won't trip over a bottle.
No, but other things could trip you.
Huh?
Yet, on the other hand, one element makes me think you might succeed.
What's that?
Oh, the way you look at her.
Who?
Miss Beekman.
Kate? Oh, now, wait a minute, J.T. I've let her strictly alone.
I know the way you look at her. You like her.
No! Well, she's okay, but she's a kid.
Gordy.
Well, yeah, all right. I like the way she looks.
You think you can make friends with her?
Well, sure, if you want me to. She's working at the club.
Yes, you know the effort I expended making certain she is. Make friends with her, Gordy.
Well, sure thing, J.T.
You'll have to mend your fences. And, take care. Move slowly, Gordy. If you succeed, then I'll let you help me with the next step. You'll like the next step, Gordy.
Well, swell. And I'll tell you something else, J.T. I like the way it's starting.
The phrase, a fate worse than death,
may be old-fashioned, but it's true. And I can tell you now that only the chance of Perry Mason's success stands between Kate Beekman and such a fate. Join us tomorrow, won't you?
It's 9 at night, immediately after the close of our last episode, as...
Is there a parking space in front of that drugstore on the corner?
Oh, yes, there is, Chief. You going to stop?
Yes. I want to phone Lieutenant Halverson. Come with me, Dillon. Listen, get a newspaper, look at the entertainment page. Here, I'll get the door. Ah, yes. Phone booth. Second. See when that nightclub is opening.
What nightclub? Oh, where Kate Beekman is going to work.
Yes, yes, the one. They'd asked us to look it over, so... Lieutenant Halverson, please. See when it opens.
Uh-huh.
Oh, Halverson. Perry Mason, just a second. All right, now you better take this down. Suzanne Barkley is the niece of Donald T. Wallace. That's right, the same Wallace who is my client. Mr. Wallace knew she was in trouble, but he did not know that she was involved with a member of the syndicate. Well, Mr. Wallace kept it out of the papers, but he's had the Missing Persons Bureau and private detectives searching for her ever since she disappeared. No, now, wait a minute, Don. That only looks like a dead end. We've learned more. For example, Sue Barkley was involved with a man named Gus. Oh, Augustino, this August, I don't know. I do know that he's the boy we're after, and we'll get him when we find Miss Barkley. So I suggest you get her file for missing persons while I'm on my way to your office. Yeah, we'll go over it and fill in what we know. Right. You get the ball rolling. I'll see you in less than an hour.
Did you get him, Chief?
Yes. Now, what about the nightclub?
Oh, here it is. Tony's. The new and lavish night spot opens on Monday next. We going?
Yeah, we'll stop by and visit Tony's one night next week.
Meanwhile, Kate Beekman's mother tries to keep her worry and concern from showing in her voice when she hears...
Kate? Kate, is that you? Of course, Mom. Have you been worried about me?
Well,
You shouldn't have. I phoned and said I'd work late.
It was after 9 o'clock.
I was working, Ma. There's lots we have to do.
Well, the nightclub isn't even open yet.
But we open Monday, and... I'm sorry you worried. You shouldn't have.
Well, I didn't exactly, but... Here, give me a card.
I can hang it up.
Let me. You must be tired.
No, I'm not. Not at all. Pa still working?
Yeah, he's working late, too. You are tired.
A little. Not really.
Sit down. Now, you can tell me all about it.
About what, Ma?
Oh, your job. And the people you work with, your boss. Just tell me about it.
There's not much to tell.
Okay.
Well, if you don't know anything about a nightclub, it's hard to tell you.
But, honey...
All right, Ma. All right. I worked some for the kitchen manager.
Kitchen man... Oh, the head chef.
No, Ma. I'm trying to tell you that there is a head chef, but the kitchen manager is in charge. Well, he's the maitre d'.
Oh, well, why didn't you say so? I know what the maitre d's job is.
Oh. Well, I'll do some work for him. Food checker.
What's that?
Well, I'll check servings against the waiter's orders.
But I thought...
What, Ma?
Well, I thought you'd work with the entertainment.
I was going to tell you, I will work with Miss Facina. She's in charge of entertainment. She plays piano.
But you just said you'd work for the maitre d'.
Honestly, Ma, I've been trying to tell you.
All right, tell me.
Well, you start asking questions before I can even answer, and then you...
Kate. I'm sorry, honey. I should have known you were more tired than you'd admit. I just want to know all about it. You understand why I'm interested in what you do, don't you?
Oh, yes, of course. And I wish I could tell you about it.
Well, can't you?
Yes, only it's hard to explain clearly. Well, it's different from anything else and hard to explain.
Well, what about the people you work with?
Oh, well, Mr. Boland, he's kitchen manager. He's very nice.
What about Miss Facina?
Oh, she's nice.
And what about working in the kitchen, honey?
Well, I told you I like Mr. Bowen.
That isn't what I asked you. You didn't know you were going to work in the kitchen.
Well, I won't most of the time, just part of the time. You're really asking me something else. You want me to say I was wrong to take the job at the club when you and Pa didn't want me to take it.
No, we didn't. But since you have, well, we just want to know what you're doing, that's all. Can't you understand, baby?
I'm sorry. Ma, when they said I couldn't dance anymore, you and Pa were wonderful. You said I was big enough to take it. Let me grow up.
We want you to.
What?
We want you to grow up. Not... We just love you, darling.
I love you, Ma. And I wish... I wish I could tell you more, and I will, only... Well, first I've got to learn for myself.
And meanwhile, one of Kate's bosses, the one Kate doesn't think is so nice, Miss Facina, has been alone. Tony's been lonesome. For an hour or so, she hoped the phone or the doorbell would ring. And when it finally does...
Oh. Gordy.
Hi.
Oh, Gordy.
Hey, take it easy. You'll strangle me.
Oh, I'm glad to see you, baby.
Yeah, I can tell. Okay, I'm glad to see you, too.
I thought you weren't ever going to see Tony, baby.
Yeah, I got something to tell you.
What?
What's the matter? You been drinking?
Well, have a little drink.
Yeah.
You want to have a little drink with Tony?
Not now. I got something to tell you.
You got something to tell me. You stand me up. I haven't seen you in a month. And you show up 3 hours late and you say you got something to tell me. Okay, I got something to tell you.
Yeah? Such as what?
The guy you used to work for came to see me.
Who?
The guy who works for you now. A big, good-looking guy.
Gus? What do you want?
He came to see me.
For what? Now listen, Tony, I know Gus and
He
you
wanted
can't...
to talk about you. He wanted me to put him in solid with you.
Oh, no kidding. Well, Gus is really on a downgrade. I can remember when Gus... Listen, Tony, how much you had to drink?
A drink, maybe 2.
More than that.
Okay, maybe 2.5. What is this?
I got something important to talk to you about in your type.
What's so important?
Kate Beekman.
What?
You heard me, Miss Beekman, the redhead.
Gordy Weber, get out of
No,
here.
now, that's no way to talk.
You can say that? When you...
I only mean I want to explain something.
What?
I'll tell you. We'll talk about it later. It's a little complicated.
About her?
Uh-huh.
What is it?
I said I'd
Oh,
tell
no,
you.
I don't want to talk about it. Now, you get out of here. Don't... Gordy.
You don't really mean that. You don't really mean that.
Oh, Gordy.
You really want me to leave, huh?
No, but why talk about her, baby? Do we have to talk about her?
Huh?
Do we? Do we, Gordy, baby?
Well, not now, kid, not now.
Oh, Gordy.
Later, honey. Yeah, we'll talk about it later. Maybe tomorrow. There's time enough for her tomorrow. Baby. Okay, Tony, mix me a drink, huh?
Kate Beekman is a nice girl, but Kate is young, handicapped by her youth and inexperience and impetuous nature. Hard as it may be to imagine, there are circumstances in which Kate could become like Sue Barkley. By all means, join us tomorrow, won't you?
11:30 at night, sometime after the close of our last episode. As in the office of Police Lieutenant Halverson, the lieutenant pushes back his chair, tosses his pencil on the desk, shoves aside the papers in front of him, and glares accusingly at Mr. Perry Mason.
Okay, Mr. Mason, okay. What's wrong with my plan?
Lieutenant,
Now, just a minute, Miss Street. I want your boss to straighten me out. All right, Mr. Mason, what's wrong with the way I say go after Suzanne Barkley?
Lieutenant.
I know what I'm talking about.
Oh, I'm sure you do, Lieutenant.
Only you don't like it.
Well, I do
now,
think...
before you start kicking it to pieces, let me point out a couple of things. This folder for missing persons reveals every personal detail in reference to Suzanne Barkley. Now, we know the night she disappeared, she got a bad cut on her hand. She had to have medical treatment that night. Mr. Scott, who treated her, said she had to get further attention. In short, all we got to do is locate the doctor or doctors who gave her further treatment and keep following the trail. Yeah. Yeah, Sergeant. How many? In the 38th? Yes, keep me posted. 4 cars stolen in the past 10 minutes, all in the 38th.
The syndicate?
Maybe. But this is for sure. Sue Barkley can give us a lead, a good lead, so the quicker we find her...
No argument.
Then what's wrong with how I say go after her?
Nothing as far as it goes, Don. I don't think it goes far enough. What'll you find if you do find another doctor who treated Sue Barkley?
Maybe a good lead. No, I said maybe.
Don, you have forgotten something.
I wish I could forget this. Yes. How many? Yes, every man back on duty. Syndicate, all right. This is going to be a busy night.
Well, now, let's take a moment longer here, Lieutenant.
I should be in communication.
Spare me a moment, if you can.
It's important, all right, but...
I think it is because Sue Barkley is important. Now, you have forgotten the human element, Don.
Yeah? For your information, that's just what we haven't forgotten. The best way to find a missing person is to learn what she'll do in a given situation.
That's my point. Now, Sue Barkley is one kind of girl, according to the records. She is the spoiled daughter of a wealthy mother. According to the facts you have, we should be able to predict every single thing that she has done. But the facts don't tell her story. Sue Barkley is not a poor little rich girl. She disappeared, and she has remained hidden for months. She has eluded the police and the crook who has been looking for her.
Gus. She evaded Gus and the police, which means she's an intelligent, resourceful girl. Those qualities don't show in her background because she never had to show intelligence and ingenuity before.
She wasn't cagey the night she disappeared. She let Mr. Scott see her driver's license.
She was shocked and dazed. But after that one night, she covered her tracks.
Yeah. I'll be there in a minute. They picked up a dozen cars in the past 15 minutes. Look, Mason, things are happening while we sit here batting the breeze. I still think the doctors are our best bet. If you come up with something better, let me know. You want to go to communications with me?
Oh, no, thanks, Lieutenant.
All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow after you've had time to think about it.
Well, Mr. Mason, shall we go?
Yeah. Get your coat.
Mm-hmm. Perry, what do you think about Sue Barkley? How would you go about finding her?
Oh, I do what Halverson intends doing. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I would do all the routine things and check on the doctors, of course. Mm-hmm. Halverson is right. Routine usually pays off. Not always. Different circumstances change people. Now, let's put it this way. Different circumstances bring out the real person. I have missed something, Ellen.
What, Chief?
Something about Sue Barkley. Some clue to her character. Wait a minute. You mind doing some extra work early in the morning?
No, of course not. What?
I want you to copy missing persons information in reference to Sue Barkley. That folder is still on Halverson's desk. We'll go back and pick it up.
I can do it here tonight.
No. Get your sleep. We'll do it in the morning. Oh, yeah. Yes, it's still here. Well, I'll just step into communication and get Halverson's okay. But it's in this folder, Della. Somewhere in these details of what Suzanne Barkley likes to eat and the size of her clothes and what she likes to read, somewhere in here is a lead that we have got to find.
Meanwhile, miles away in another part of the city, the man called Gus slows his expensive foreign sports car, turns into a small, dingy, all-night garage.
Yeah, that's Al, all right.
Yes, sir. What'll it be?
Say, you know where I can find a mechanic tonight? My car needs tuning up.
Oh, yeah? Well, say, mister, let me do it, huh?
You? You a mechanic?
Well, sure I am.
I wouldn't let anybody but a real mechanic touch this.
Okay, mister. But I sure would like to get my hands on this car.
I guess you would, Al.
Hey, what you call me?
Al Dollar. Say hello to Gus, Al.
Gus. Mr. Jansen. Mr. Jansen, I'm so glad to see you. You back with the outfit?
Uh-huh. Hey, look, I want to talk to you.
Hey, there's a room with a little stove. Come on. There's nobody else around. I'm on alone at night. Come on, over here by the stove.
Hey, what happened to you, Albert?
What? Nothing.
Oh, come on, guy, you can tell me. How come you're squirting gas in a greasy dump like this? You're the best mechanic I ever saw in my life.
Well, I do okay when I get my hands on a piece of machinery. But I'm dumb, Mr. Jansen. I talk awful dumb. Hardly anybody will give me a chance if they don't know me. Gordy told me one time, Gordy says all my brains are in my hands.
So?
Huh?
Gordy knows you. You used to do special work for Gordy. You used to do mechanical work at the hot car drop.
Yeah. But Gordy says they're stepping up operations, going real big time. He says I'm too slow to keep up.
You? You're the fastest operator I ever saw.
All I know is what Gordy told me.
So he turns you out.
He gave me $50.
Turns you out to squirt gas in a grease trap. Hey, how'd you like to work for me, Albert? Doing mechanics work, real work.
You back with the syndicate, Mr. Jansen?
Yeah.
But doing what, if you don't mind my asking?
Well, I'm working for Gordy now.
No thanks, Mr. Jansen. I won't work for you.
You mind telling me why?
I'm dumb, Mr. Jansen. But I know how you and Gordy feel about each other.
Hey, we're pals.
I'm dumb, Mr. Jansen, but not that dumb.
I don't get you.
You never tried to kid me before. You always treated me square. You're up to something, Mr. Jansen.
Oh, but I guess I didn't make it clear. I don't mean work just for me. I want you to come back and work for the syndicate.
Huh? Gordy said...
I'll square it with Gordy. We need somebody in a new hot car drop. It's right near the new nightclub.
Yeah, but Gordy said...
Albert, I said I'll fix it, and I will. Of course, if you aren't interested, well, forget it. But if you're hungry to get your hands back to your tools... Yeah?
It's funny you said that, Mr. Jansen. That's exactly the way I feel. I got my tools right here, Mr. Jansen. Look.
Yeah, all shined up.
Yeah. As nobody can tune a motor as sweet as me. Nobody. But I'm so dumb they won't let me work on them.
I can fix it for you, Albert.
Please don't kid me, Mr. Jansen.
I won't. Hey, Junior, you know Junior?
Uh-huh.
He used to work for Gordy. He's working for me now.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Miss Facina? You know Miss Facina?
Uh-huh.
Well, she's working with me.
Sometimes I'm glad I'm dumb, Mr. Jansen. You're up to something, only I can't figure it out.
Now, don't try. You want the job?
I want to work on the cars again, Mr. Jansen, but that's all I want. I'm too dumb to get in the middle between you and Gordy. So if you expect me to do anything but work on the cars...
Just one other thing, Albert.
I was afraid of that. Thanks all the same.
Now, let me tell you before you turn me down. All I ask is you remember I'm the guy who put you back to work.
And when the time comes that you want a favor, you want me to remember the favor you did for me. You didn't have to tell me, Mr. Jansen. There's trouble coming. I can feel it.
You want to back out?
I can't stay away from a motor any more than some guys can leave dames alone. Or the bottle. Or leave trouble alone.
You come to work, Albert?
Yeah. Trouble and all.
Well, even as Perry Mason makes every effort to break the syndicate, there's real trouble inside the syndicate itself. So there'll be action and excitement in the immediate future. By all means, join us tomorrow, won't you?